Welcome back to Run the Layers. On these segment of videos, I kind of want to, take you through a little of the layers that I do, whether it be in Illustrator or Photoshop, to kind of show you like the behind the scenes of how I arrived at certain designs. And on this video, I'm going to talk about the Stroll City Strivers. Now, I've already done a video on this channel about the Stroll City Strivers, my fantasy football franchise. And that was about the branding and the logos and stuff like that. But now I'm gonna talk about how I've expanded the brand, how I've utilized the brand with certain graphics as far as like game results, making the playoffs, which I can honestly say has been wonderful because I've only been playing fantasy football for 2 years, and 2 years, two playoff appearances. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but I think it's pretty good. It's pretty good. So yeah, let's jump into some of these designs. The week before, week 12, I was the 5th ranked team in the league. So 5th ranked out of 16 teams, pretty good. But since we only do 4 teams make it to the playoff, it was still, trying to get up into that 4th slot to make the playoffs. I was definitely feeling inspired by the college football playoff where, teams would like announce where they ranked each week and kind of post that on their social. So I took some inspiration from that, but kind of went my own directions. You have, with a very, very handy mock-up, I made a mock-up of a helmet with the logo, Stroll City Strivers logo on there. And I kind of utilized that and had the number 5 here. I wanted to make, had some black paper texture because I wanted to add texture to it and kind of have the 5, overlay there. And at the bottom have like Stroll and Strive, which is, kind of like my catchphrase, kind of like the tagline for the team. And then with the Nationals Football League, which is the name of my fantasy football league that I'm in, and the Nationals Football League playoffs there, kind of as a signature there, kind of as a stamp, kind of make it official. And then had the 5 there. And then I was going to leave it just with the 5 there, but I wanted to add a little something there. So I put Matt Ryan in the 5. So I kind of overlap Matt Ryan there with the 5 because Matt Ryan right now is my top points getter. And I kind of wanted to just add just a little something because with stuff like this, you want to add enough layers to where you kind of get the point across, and it's something unique, it's something dynamic. Me making the playoffs, there's a lot of elements here, and I tinkered with this a lot, especially the in and including the player kind of mashup there in the middle because I wanted to kind of have them included, but then it took a little minute to figure out how I wanted to cut because I wanted it to seem like the players were kind of coming out of the end. And I like when photos overlap in certain places because it makes it seem like it's a more natural part of it instead of cutting it all off. So it's just basically about choosing where you want the overlap and where you want things to cut. So because you kind of want it in certain areas. Basically, it's like you want the end part of IN to be there, but you still want to have that dynamic overlap of the players there. And yeah, I have my record 9-4 for the regular season. I have my seeding in the playoffs, number 4. I have that good old monogram for Stroll City that I made. There's a video about that you can check out on the channel. And then the helmet mock-up there. And then with the Stroll City Strivers word mark, and then the playoffs at the bottom. Also in the back, I have, a good texture there just to, just add some dynamics there. I'm a big fan of good use of texture. And as of recording this, because our playoffs are structured to where it's, you got the four teams, but then each round is 2 weeks. So after 1 week, this is my score against, and this is, halftime basically. So it's basically 1 week out of 2. So here I have Matt Ryan here, and then I kind of use Matt Ryan as kind of a border. So I have to the right of him, I have it one way, but then to the left of him, I have another way. And then I've used shadows to kind of make that background, the Stroll and Strive in the background. And then I have, each team's logos as they are seen on ESPN's fantasy page. I have my seating. I have the team. His name is Acquisitions King, and have the number one seed for Acquisitions King, and then the score there with the Stroll and Strive and National Football Playoff signature there, and Matt Ryan with the amount of points that he's gotten thus far. So with this, I have different layers uh, that kind of tell the tale from his left side and his right side, and there are certain ways I want things to overlap. And I've actually used the grid here to kind of map out how I want things to go, because I'm a big fan of grid and using the grid to kind of organize things. Because when you're making graphics that use a lot of layers and have multiple amounts of information, you need to have an information hierarchy. You need to have an information architecture that makes sure that the most important information is definitely there, and then all the other information is proportioned accordingly to where everybody sees everything you want them to see. But you have to kind of organize that. I organize that using the grid. The fantasy football thing is and designing for is very fun for me, number one, but number two, it also gives me practice, creating things in the sports space. So I'm inspired by seeing other sports designers, and I kind of use them as inspiration, and use franchises and how they depict certain things as far as scores and news and just any kind of graphics, and kind of you see, how can I do that, but how can I put my own twist on it? Okay, what's the most important thing? So I kind of study that and use the things that I study as inspiration for Stroll City Strivers. And as long as we keep winning and keep going to the playoffs, I'm gonna come up with new ways to do things. So it's just a fun thing. And as a designer, I'm always looking for fun, innovative ways to pretty much practice my craft and get better at doing things. Maybe do things differently than what I'm used to, or think outside the box. So I usually take all of this as an opportunity to practice and get better. Well, that's it for me. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Let me know in the comment section down below which one of those graphics is your favorite. And let me know if you play fantasy football and what's your team name. Be sure, as you go along in life, teach as you learn and inspire as you do. See you next time.